Now, Psalm 118 was well known for reasons we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But first, I want to point out something that, frankly, I just delight in bringing up every chance I get. See, the gospel of salvation was given to mankind in the Old Testament, not in the New. Yeshua taught the gospel from the Old Testament. The disciples taught the gospel to their fellow Jews from the Old Testament. The apostle Paul taught the gospel to the Gentiles from the Old Testament. Every scripture passage that the disciples and the apostles and Christ himself quoted was from the Old Testament. And that's because there would be no such thing as a New Testament for nearly 2 centuries after Christ's passion on the cross. So when people question the relevance of the Old Testament for modern day believers, and that salvation is of the New Testament, not the Old, you might want to point this out. Now, I'm of course in no way disparaging the latter part of our Bibles, the New Testament, or am I lessening its irreplaceable value or inspiration. However, for a very long time, there's been a great effort in some of our Christian institutions, none more so than in the 21st century, to separate the Old from the New, making the Old almost a separate issue, if not a separate book from the New, with each testament designated as pertinent to different people groups. One for the Jews, the other one for Christian Gentiles. And although we'll find some of the early church fathers holding to this view, this was by no means unanimous. See, I think it's really instructional to include the early church fathers' comments in any discussion of the New Testament. Here is what the Venerable Bede, also known as Saint Bede, said in the early 700s AD about the issue of the 2 testaments, the Old and the New, as well as the 2 peoples of the earth, Jews and Gentiles, in relation to one another. This excerpt I'm going to read to you from is taken from his commentary on the book of Acts of the Apostles, as he speaks specifically about Acts chapter 4 and Peter's Psalm 118 quote. He says this: "The builders were the Jews, while all the Gentiles remained in the wasteland of idols. The Jews alone were daily reading the law and the prophets for the building up of the people. And as they were building, they came to the cornerstone, which embraces 2 walls. That is, they found in the prophetic scriptures that Christ, who would bring together in himself 2 peoples, was to come in the flesh. And because they preferred to remain in one wall, that is, to be saved alone, they rejected the stone, which was not one-sided but 2-sided. Nevertheless, although they were unwilling, God by himself placed this stone at the chief position in the corner, so that from the 2 testaments and from the 2 peoples there might rise up a building of one and the same faith." Isn't that a great quote? Very wise, profound words from Bede.